This is the book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 12. For the rich men thereof are full of violence, and the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 12, is that I came across an article today from the Times of Israel, okay? And the title of the article, or the headline, says this: Trump, JJs, or 1948ers, small hats, okay? We have to use these code words because they be taking our videos down if we, say so-called, you already know, won't drag us into war with Iran. You hear that? This is what Trump said. JJ's 1948ers, small hats, won't drag us into war with Iran, but will lead the pack if no deal made. And I'm looking at this headline, I'm like, this man Trump, okay, and of course, this is the vibration that these Edomites push, all right, is walking, talking, all right, deceitful contradiction. Okay, and that's how you know these are the rich men that are full of violence, all right, in these modern times, because they speak nothing but lies, okay? Their track record shows that they've been nothing but violent in the land since they got into power, all right? And above all, they're deceitful, very deceitful. The fact that he said this, I'm like, this is some deceitful, walking, talking contradiction, all right? Because anybody who's been following the wars in the Middle East, this is something that I've, the Lord put the heavy spirit on me to always follow, and that's why I see through the rhetoric that's on CNN and Fox, and because those are just propaganda machines. Okay, you really have to look up alternative news media, really the ones that are boots on the ground in those regions, to really get an understanding what's really going on, okay, and what they call today the so-called Middle East, or it's really West Asia, okay, Western Asia. Because for the past damn near 30, 40 years plus, America has been funding, providing, okay, the statehood of the JJs and 1948ers with nothing but resources, so that they can continue to rage their terror in those regions, because that's what they're doing, okay? Like, look at Gaza, for example, all right? Where did the JJs get the funds and the weapons from? America, and that's public knowledge, okay? All right, so the fact that he said this is very deceitful, but it goes to show you this is these Edomites, okay? And Trump is the face of it, all right? They are walking, talking contradiction. They're deceitful, they're liars, okay? They're double-minded in all their ways. In fact, let me get that, because this was a double-minded statement right there, all right? The JJs won't drag us into war with Iran, but will lead the pack if no deal made. So they're still dragging you into a war with Iran. This is, hey, but these are these Edomites, these so-called white people, man, okay? Let me get the book of James, chapter 1, verse 8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Right. That statement that Trump made is double-minded. Okay? All right? Double-minded. And it clearly shows inconsistency. In fact, when you go into the word unstable, it means literally unstable, inconsistent. You look up just a basic definition of it: frequently changing, variable, or irregular. Right. Just like Trump was frequently changing with these tariffs, which was causing the market to go up and down, right? Which that's all staged. If you understand how these markets are controlled, all right? It's all staged, because really what it was, just to give you a side note on these markets, they're shaking the baby boomers out. The baby boomers are holding the wealth. They're shaking them out, all right? Because they got to, these baby boomers are not going to be able to make it into the AI digital, all right, prison, all right? They're too old and too conformed in their ways. So basically, they're shaking them out, all right, to give up their wealth, okay? And so that's what that's all about. And that's why the ones that are complaining about the stock market are the baby boomers, are the ones that have the wealth. Us millennials and Generation Xers, all right, for the most part, and Generation Zers, we don't have, okay, large amounts of invested in stocks and bonds, okay? A lot of us are just working paycheck to paycheck just to pay the basic necessities, all right? Okay? Yeah, some of us may dabble, you know, in some stocks and bonds or some like crypto. I'm big into that, but not to a point that it's going to hinder my way of, okay, the so-called way of life, because we're just getting our daily bread, okay? We're not heavily invested in a place where if the stocks crash, oh, this is gonna mess up, okay, my so-called, all right, way of life, for lack of better words, you know, my standard of living. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for, okay? Because we're just passing through. But for these baby boomers, all right, they're catching the uncertainty now because of Donald Trump. But the point is, Donald Trump has been like this. He's always been a double-minded person, okay? Everything he says, he's a walking contradiction. And he represents these Edomites, okay? And that's why a lot of these Edomites are at each other's necks, all right? They're divided because, all right, they're seeing Donald Trump is totally backing the JJs, all right? And again, here's another article, okay? This is from Exos. Trump has quietly been hammering Yemen for 6 weeks, right? You know, Trump campaigned that, you know, he's done with the endless wars, but yet he's bombing the shit out of the Houthis since he got into office. And who backs the Houthis? Iran. So clearly, America is indirectly, all right, at war with Iran, with the Houthis as Iran's proxy, okay? And the Iranians have always been doing this. If you do any research on the Persians, they always hired other groups of people to fight their wars, okay? That's how they were able to, they were at one point was able to dominate the Greeks before Alexander came into power, because they were using different proxies, different mercenaries. Hell, they were even using the Greeks' own kind. And that's why Alexander, all right, was basically like, hey, if you are taking money from the Persians, you are an enemy of the state, and was even killing his own kind. All right, a good Netflix series to watch, it goes into that, is the recent one, Alexander. But the point is, all right, the Iranians have always used mercenaries and used groups of other people, all right, to fight their war. So this is nothing new. That's how you know, all right, you know, there's nothing new under the sun, okay? War, the way these are the same spirits coming back, okay? Same thing with these Edomites, and they're forked-tongued, and they're very deceitful, okay? And you know, what Donald Trump said, all right, just proves that they're a bunch of deceitful, lying, violent men. Now I want to bring out the book of Psalm, because this reminded me of this one too. Psalm 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, right? War is in Donald Trump's heart. War is in the heart of these Edomites, okay? The ones that are really calling the shots. Not these low-level Edomites. Some of them might be down for war. A lot of them are not. Oh, we're tired of war, you know. But hey, the elites of these Edomites that run this country, okay, they're for war. Especially those that back the JJs, okay? They want war, okay? They want to, because war is profitable, all right? War is profitable, all right? His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, right? So the shit that Donald Trump just said, okay, clearly that Psalm 55 verse 21, that's that devil right there, okay? That's wild. Once again, Trump said the statehood of the JJs won't drag us into war with Iran, but we'll lead the pack if no deal made. Clearly, okay, this man is deceitful and lying, all right? And again, if no deal is made, okay, you just said they're going to lead the pack and you're going to back that. So it's clearly, this is double-minded speak. He's a walking, talking contradiction, okay? And again, the scriptures say the least of the flock shall draw us out. You know what? Let me get that. So even if you did have a conscience, Trump, which we know you're following a script, we all see through that. You're following a script. Jeremiah 49 and was it 21? It's 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom and his purposes, right? Because you're not going to stop the prophecies. This is the will of the Lord, okay? This is his doing, all right? You can have a conscience all you want, but at the end of the day, man's goings of the Lord, how can he understand his own way? Meaning your will be getting drugged into that conflict against Iran and against Russia, because Russia backs Iran. And his purposes that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Right. See, the Lord is using these JJs, these 1948ers, to draw all Edomites into that region for their judgment. Okay. And that's why you'll never leave that region, ever. Okay. Because that's a place for your judgment, for your military, most specifically. All right. To be judged. All right. And that's going to cook off that nuclear war. Okay. But the point is, there's no stopping it. These JJs, okay, are going to drag all you Edomites into that region, because World War III has to end in nuclear war, and we're in the beginning stages of it. Okay, and I want to see what this whole I'm going to keep watching this whole tanker that blew up over there in Iran just recently, and it's how funny. Again, how funny. There's a tanker that blows up, and this is the same time frame where America and Iran are discussing Iran's nuclear program. Interesting, okay? And I bet the lack of funds that I have, okay, all right, that the JJs were behind it. The JJs were behind it. Guarantee it. The JJs were behind it. Okay? I bet my bottom dollar, the very few shekels that I have, all right, that the JJs were behind that. Okay? And we're going to see. We'll see if that's the way the narrative plays out. But at the end of the day, all right, you devils are these JJs, these 1948s, are dragging all you devils, and I'm saying you devils, I'm talking about you Edomites, into that region to be judged. So, and you know what? Let me get this one, Obadiah, because your pride have deceived y'all. y'all Edomites, man. Y'all really thinking that you can just, you know, do whatever the hell you want, be violent, be deceitful, all right? Be a walking, talking contradiction, and you're not going to be judged. Okay. Obadiah, it says Edom will be humbled, by the way. All right. And the Lord's humbling y'all. Okay. You Edomites are, the average Edomites are being humbled. They losing it. Okay. But you elites, you're going to be humbled too. Obadiah, verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. You're greatly despised. Okay. And when you go into that word small, okay, it's quatan. It means insignificant, unimportant. So you're considered unimportant, insignificant in the Lord's eyes. Again, you're just being used to fulfill prophecy. Okay, you're being used so that prophecy can be fulfilled. So that so it shows that the Lord was telling the truth, that the scriptures are the truth. Okay, that's why nobody has free will. None of y'all have free will, you know. And that's why we thank Yahweh Shemel Shai that we were born as Israelites and not the heathens, especially Esau, Edom, because Esau, Edom, all right, is going to be judged greatly. They're the only nation that has are not given any repentance. All right, they were rejected. Okay. Obadiah 1 verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. Verse 3, the pride of thy heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground right? You know, and you know, like for example, Donald Trump, man, the golden age, and we're gonna make America great again. That's that pride that has deceived him. Okay, and that's the spirit of these Edomites. They don't think they can be taken down. All right, but you know, anybody that has spiritual eyes can see that these men are being taken down. This place is circling the drain. This place is through. Okay, and the only things left is for war. All right, to end this place misery. Because this, you know, these people are mourning, man. People ain't happy. People are forcing that mirth now. The scriptures talk about there's a cry for wine, man. People are forcing trying to be happy, but they know, man, because all they do is turn on the news and it's nothing but negativity. It's nothing but, all right, the reality of everything's all fucked up. Okay, people, you know, you talk to the average person at work, what do they say? Man, I don't like watching the news. Okay, it's too depressing. All right, they don't like watching the news. Like, that's how you know. Okay. All right, now these people are just telling lies to each other, telling fairy tales. Okay, basically having cognitive dissonance. All right, they don't want to face the music, face reality that this place is done. Okay, and that's a pride, and that's pride, and that pride is pushed onto the people by these Edomites. Okay, because these Edomites don't want to admit that they're going down. Okay, for though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Right. And once you started going into space, you know, and shooting rockets into space, which you know, and then you know, with all, especially now, like that's all you see now is rich people going into space, or you know, just all types of madness. That's when the Lord's been bringing this place down. And this place has not gotten better. It's gotten worse. America's been entangled in many wars. They're in financial ruins. Okay, and yeah, the only thing left is for you to be taken out of your misery with the destruction. Okay, and that's why we're waiting on this RFID chip, the mark of the beast. Which, hey, it's coming, man. You know, that's why again they're shaking these baby boomers out, because they're not these baby boomers. Okay, I've seen it personally where I work at, where these elderly baby boomers, they have a hard time even operating the computer, man. Okay, to do FaceTime. Let's put it that way. So, you know, low will is less is edifying. I don't want to make this too long, but yeah, what Trump just said is a great example that these Edomites, these rich men, all right, the elites are full of violence. They're full of lies, and they're very deceitful. just the statement he just said, like when clearly all you have to do is Google everything America has been doing in supporting these JJs, okay, against Iran, okay? So, you know, Lord willing, this lesson's edifying. And again, these JJs are going to drag all you Edomites into war. So, you know, when you see a draft, that draft ticket on TV, and you want to know why, you can blame them JJs, okay? So with that, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep enduring, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostle elders. We're almost out of here. All right, just keep watching. All right. There's not a time to look back. There's not a time to take your hand off the plow. Okay, let's keep pushing. To the futures that are watching, keep studying. When you pray, pray your cover. Shalom.